Hello everyone, welcome back. So today I am going to cover how to calculate the time delay with overhead and without overhead. Okay. So I am going to take a same timer program. So this timer program already I discussed in the previous video. So in this today's video I am going to just glance this timer program. Then we go for how to calculate the time delay with overhead and without overhead. So after that we will see for timer 1 and then we will go for execution in the kill software. So this is a timer program for timer 0 and mode 1. So the previous video the statement is given that you have to generate a square wave of 50% duty cycle in port 1 dot 5, okay, that is port 1 fifth bit. So this is a program we discussed. So before writing any timer program, you have to select which timer you are going to use and which mode you are going to use to write the program. So for that, I told you have to initialize first the TMOD register. So that is a timer mode register. So you know it's a 8-bit register. So you have to put the value in the TMOD register to say that which timer and which mode you are going to use. So here 01 means in TMOD register 01 is nothing but it is going to select timer 0 and mode 1. So to how to put this value, this is the instruction move tmod comma hash 0 1. After selecting timer 0 and mode 1, you have to put the initial count in the timer 0. Okay. So here the initial count will be of 16 bit. You have to divide it by 2 and that 2 initial counts has to be loaded in TL0 and TH0. TL stands for, you know, that is a timer low bit of timer 0. This is timer high bit of timer 0. So how to load the 16-bit value of initial count? So initial count you can take in the range of 0000 to FFF. So final the value maximum value will be in the register is FFF. Okay. So let us take a initial count as FFF2. So in the lower byte of the FFF2 is going to be stored in TL0 and the higher byte is going to be stored in TL0. So now initial count is FFF2. So after declaring the initial count, so the question is you have to get the square wave of 50% duty cycle and that square wave you have to display in P1.5. So you have to toggle that value. So that's why to toggling the value there is an instruction for toggle that is CPL. So CPL P1.5, P1 is port 1 and fifth bit of port 1. So in the fifth bit of port 1 you are going to do the toggling. So for toggling you have to use the instruction called CPL. Then here you can write in two ways. You can write without subroutine also and with subroutine also. So in this program I explained with subroutine means whenever you want that program timer program you can call to the main program. So in order to write in terms of subroutine just use the instructions for call. So the instruction here I used is a call. A stands for absolute and call. So what I have to call in the main program to start the timer, stop the timer flag. That program I have to call in the main program. So for that I will give one label, say delay. Okay. So you can see in delay program starting the timer, monitoring the TF flag. Then once it rolls over, stopping the timer and stopping the timer flag is there. Okay. So same thing, this is a program where we are going to return in terms of subroutine program. So now delay is a subroutine program. Whenever you need that, you are going to call in the main program. If you don't want to write in the subroutine program, then no need to write a call. Directly you start the timer. Okay. So after that, you have to do short jump here. So after this program is over, subroutine program is over, it will come back to the main program. So once it come back to the main program, some instruction must be there in the main program. So that is s jump here means again it will go back, again it will going to execute the same procedure. So what is there in the delay program, that is starting the timer. So how to start the timer, set bit b tr0. Then after when the timer is started, the initial value is going to be counted. So the first initial value is FFF2, next it becomes FFF3, FFF4, so on up to FFFF. So until it reaches to FFFF, TF flag, that is timer flag 0 is the value will be 0. Once it rolls over, once overflow happens from FFFF to 000, that time TF flag becomes 1. So you have to monitor that when TF flag becomes 1. So, okay. So until the TF flag is 0, it will be the same loop. So how to monitor? This is the instruction, that is JNB. Okay. So NB stands for no bit, means 0. In TF the value will be 0. So when the TF value is 0 means it will jump to again. Once TF flag becomes 1 means it will not jump to again, it will execute the below instruction. Okay, below to the jump. So now it will be in the same loop until TF becomes 1. So it is a monitoring timer 0 flag until rolls over. So once the TF flag becomes 1 means what happens? You have to stop that timer. Okay. So once the overflow happens or rolls over happens, you have to stop that timer. After that, you have to load 0 in TF0 because you want to count again with a new value or a same value. So TF flag is 1 where previous 1. So that's why you have to make it 0. So the instruction you are going to use is CLR TF0 so that the TF flag becomes 0. Again you can execute the same program or with same value, or you can execute with a different value. So I told when you are using subroutine program, compulsorily there must be a RET instruction. If you don't write RET instruction, it will not go to main program. So that's why to go to the main program, compulsory there must be a RET instructions. Once it execute RET instruction, it will jump back to sjump instruction. So it will not point to a call. A call is over now. So now it will point to sjump here. So here means again it will going to start the same program. Okay. So this is a how what a program what I discussed for timer 0 and mode 1. Okay. So now we'll see how to calculate the amount of time delay in the delay subroutine generated by timer. Okay. So you know by we will assume that the crystal frequency is 11.0592 megahertz. Okay. So this is how you are going to calculate the time delay. So time works with a clock frequency of 1/12 of crystal frequency. Okay. So crystal frequency here it is 11.0592 megahertz. That value is going to be divided by 12 so that you are going to get the timer frequency. So now for 11.05 when you divide, the timer frequency is 9 to 1.6 kilohertz. Okay. So next, how to calculate the period. So each clock has a period of t is equal to 1 by timer frequency. So timer frequency is 9 to 1.6 kilohertz. So 1 divided by 9 to 1.6 kilohertz is equal to 1.085 microsecond. So this is a fixed period when crystal frequency is 11.0592 megahertz. If you want to change the crystal frequency, say 22 megahertz, ultimately the period is going to be changed. Okay. Then, therefore, time 0 counts up to 1.085 microsecond, resulting in the delay. So, how you are going to calculate the delay with respect to t? So, it is equal to number of counts into 1.085 microsecond. So, 1.085 microsecond is a period of this crystal frequency. And then, how we are going to calculate the delay? Delay is nothing but number of counts into 1.085 microsecond. So, here number of counts is nothing but if the initial count is f2, then you have to take the difference of that. Okay. So how to calculate the delay? There are two ways. Okay. There are two ways to calculate the delay. So one thing you can calculate using hex value, and one more is you can calculate using decimal value also. So how to calculate using hex value? So the formula is FFFF, this is the maximum value, then YYXX. So YYXX is the initial count, XX is the TL0 value, YY is the TH0 value. Okay. So you have to enter the initial count here. So maximum value minus initial count plus 1 into 1.085 microsecond, that is period. So you are going to get the value. Okay. Same thing when you want to calculate in terms of decimal, whatever the initial count is there, that is YYXX, convert it to decimal first. So when you convert YYXX values of TH and TL register to decimal, you are going to get value in terms of NN. Okay. So these are the decimal value of YYXX. Then how to calculate the delay? That is formula is 65536 minus NNNNN. Okay. So 65536 is a decimal value of FFFF minus the decimal value of initial count into the period. So you are going to calculate the time delay in decimal. So if you apply both the means the result must be same. So when you apply hex value, whatever the time delay you are going to get, the time delay has to be matched with the delay which you are calculating using decimal. Okay. So now let us take same initial count to calculate the time delay. Both in both methods, in hex as well as decimal. So in hex, number of counts. So first you have to find the number of counts. Using that number of counts, you have to multiply with the period. So how to find the number of counts for the roll over is, so I told first is the maximum value FFFF, this is the hex value, minus initial count, that is TH and TL value, plus 1, you are going to get 0E. In decimal it is 14. Okay. So after that you have to take that 14, multiply with the period, because delay is equal to number of counts into period. So number of counts is here E into 1.085 microsecond. So before calculating this, first you have to convert this E into decimal, that is 14. 14 into 1.085 microsecond. So you are going to get the result as 15.9 microsecond for half the pulse. So whatever the delay you calculated is only for half, then it is a high or it is a low pulse. So how to calculate for entire cycle, that is multiply 2 with that, you are going to get the entire period. Okay. So for the entire period, it is T is equal to 2 times of this half cycle period. So you are going to get 30.38 microsecond. So when you execute the same program in the keel, you can see the time delay, means entire period you are going to get 30.38 microsecond for this initial count FF, F2. So if you put here another initial count, for that the time period will be different. Okay. So this is has a time delay generated by the timer. So same thing if I want to calculate in terms of decimal. So it is 65536 minus the decimal value of FF, F2. Okay, is equal to 14. So here when you are doing a decimal, no need to add plus 1. When you are doing hex, you have to add 1. Okay. So you are going to get 14 here. So 14 into period is equal to 15.19 microsecond. This is again for half pulse. So multiply 2 with this, you are going to get the entire period. And this period must be same. You apply any method, but the value must be same. Okay. This is a time period you are going to get for entire cycle when the initial count is FF, F2, that is 65522. Next, we'll take same example, that is example 9.5. Calculate the frequency of square wave generated on P1.5. Okay. So here, whatever the value I told here for this program, so I showed this program. So for this program, I calculated the delay value, that is 30.8 microsecond. So this value is without overhead. Okay, I told you can calculate the delay with overhead and without overhead. So whenever you calculate the delay using initial count, that is nothing but the delay without overhead. So what is overhead? So we call it as a zero overhead. So zero overhead loop is a loop whose endpoints are determined by hardware, so that no software is required to determine when the loop has ended and must return to the beginning. Okay. So with overhead and without overhead. So what is the difference when we apply with overhead and without overhead? So when you calculate the delay without overhead, you are going to get one value, and with overhead you are going to get a different value. So in that, which is the most accurate time delay you have to compare, means the time delay, whatever the time delay you are going to calculate with overhead is going to give the more accurate time delay. Okay. So there are two types of calculating the delay, that is with overhead, without overhead. So how to calculate the delay without overhead? By taking the initial count. Okay, whatever the count you are going to load in TH and TL, take that initial count and apply in hex or decimal formula, you are going to get the time delay of entire period. So that is the time delay of entire period without overhead. So how to calculate with overhead? By including the machine cycle of each instruction. So each instruction having machine cycle, you have to take that machine cycle and calculate the entire period. So when you compare these two with overhead and without overhead, so with overhead time delay is going to give the more accurate time delay. So this is a value for FF, F2 for same program. This is without overhead. So now we'll see with overhead. So this is a program, same program. So to get a more accurate timing, we need add clock cycles. So this is overhead method. So add clock cycle means machine cycles you have to add. So to do that, we have to use a machine cycle. So for each instruction, machine cycle is given in the Masidi book. that too in table A.A-1 in appendix A. So you can see appendix backside of the textbook of Masidi. So for each instructions, how many bytes of instruction it is and how many machine cycle it consists, everything is given. By referring that, you can calculate the time delay with overhead. So I took same program, okay. So I wrote here the machine cycle of each instructions. So you can see there is a no machine cycle for move tmod comma #1 because for TL and TH is there because I told TL and TH0 acts as a same register like A, B and so on. So for this register you can have the machine cycle. But for move tmod comma hash means especially for tmod there is no machine cycle. Okay. So we leave this first instruction, then we go on applying the machine cycle for remaining instruction. So move TL comma #0F2 it's going to consist of machine cycle of is 2 and for move TH comma #0F machine cycle is 2, complement P1.5 machine cycle is 1, ACALL delay machine cycle is 2, sjump here machine cycle is 2, then set BTR0 machine cycle is 1 and JNF0 comma again. So usually when you write only ZNF0 comma again it's going to consisting of machine cycle of only 2. But here I wrote 14 because how many times it will be in the same loop, that is 14 times it will be there because FF minus FFF2 plus 1 means 14 times it will be in same loop until TF becomes 1. So that's why the machine cycle is 14. Okay, don't write 2. Okay, in appendix it is given 2 but it is only for one count. But here how many counts you are going to calculate, that is 14 times. The difference between FF minus FF2 plus 1 you are going to get the count as 14. So 14 times it will be in the same loop. So that's why the machine cycle is 14. Then for CLR TR0 the machine cycle is 1, CLR TF0 the machine cycle is 1, then RET 2. So add these all machine cycles you are going to get a total of 28. Okay. So using this count how you are going to calculate the entire period, that is 28 into the period because I used the same crystal frequency that is 11.0592 megahertz, that crystal frequency into total number of machine cycle and into 2 because you have to calculate entire period for both half for both on and off means entire period means it includes each cycle means it includes on and off also. So for entire period you have to calculate the time delay using machine cycle. So machine cycle when you add you got 28 into period into 2 times so that you will get the entire period. If you don't multiply 2 means you will get only for half pulse. Okay. So when you do this you are going to get the value 60.76 microsecond and when you calculate frequency that is 1 divided by t you are going to get 16458.2 hertz. So this time delay is a accurate time delay when you compare with without overhead. So without overhead you can see what is the time period you got, that is 30.38 microsecond. So with overhead you got 60.76 microhertz. So we say whatever the time delay, entire time delay you calculate with overhead is going to give the accurate time delay. Okay. So you can calculate in any two ways, without and with. Usually in the companies they are going to calculate with overhead, means they are going to use a machine cycle of each instructions and they are going to calculate the time period. So next we'll take one example. Find the delay generated by timer 0 in the following code using both of the methods. Means both of the methods means here you have to use hex method also, decimal method also to find the time delay. Then they given that do not include overhead due to instructions. Means you have to calculate the time delay in both the methods using the initial count. So they told to do not include the overhead. So if they told to include overhead means you have to write all the machine cycles of each instruction. Then using that you have to calculate the time delay. But they already mentioned don't use the overhead here. So how to calculate the delay in both methods means in both hex and decimal. So here initial count is given, that is B8 3E is the initial count. Using that initial count you apply in that formula in hex and decimal, you are going to get the time delay for timer 0. Okay. And this is a program is given. This is a program. So first instruction is CLR P.3 means they are going to display the square wave in port 2 and third bit. So port 2 of third bit they are going to used to calculate the square wave. Okay, so first initially if you take any ports, okay, all values will be f. It's all bits of each ports will be 1 1 1 1. Okay, so whenever you go on displaying, whether you want to toggle or anything, the values is going to be changed. So by default, when you power on the microcontroller, all ports will be 1 1 1 1 1. Means each bit of all ports will be 1 1 1. So that the instruction here is first clear P2.3, means they are going to make 0 only for third bit of port 2. So now third bit of port 2 is 0, the remaining bits are all 1. Then they are using a mode 0 and 16-bit mode, means mode 0, mode timer 0, mode 1. So here by seeing this instruction you will come to know which timer and which mode they are selected. So move tmod comma hash 0 means timer 0 and mode 1. Next they initialize the initial count. So initial count, first they will enter into th0 then tl. So tl means lower byte, th means higher byte of initial count. So the entire initial count is B83E. So initial count they used to write this program is B83E. After that they are going to start that bit of port 2, that is third bit of port 2. So to make that, actually here they cleared. So to make that high, so they use the instruction called set B. So when they use this instruction means again that bit becomes 1. Okay, so set the timer 0. Then they are going to start the timer. So here you can see there is no A call, means this is a program without subroutine. Okay, you can write like this also or with subroutine also. So directly they started the timer 0. Now it start counting from B83E to maximum value FFF. So until then you have to monitor the TF flag. Okay, so until B83E, when it reaches to FF, TF0 is going to be 0. So once the FF value rolls over to 00, TF flag becomes 1. Then you have to stop the timer and you have to clear the timer flag value. Okay. Then you have to clear the P2.3. Okay. So this is a program. So here no need to write the machine cycle because they told do not include the overhead due to instruction. So directly you take this count, that is B83E, and apply in that method. So first method is hex method. So maximum value is FF minus initial count B83E plus 1. You are going to get 47C2, the hex value. So multiply that with period. So because same crystal frequency 11.085 microsecond. Okay, you are going to get the value 19.93145 millisecond. So if you apply in decimal, that is decimal value of B83E is 47166. So when you calculate, the decimal value is 18370, multiplied with period, you are going to get 19.9314 millisecond as a width of the pulse. So these values are the half width of the pulse. Okay, you want to calculate the entire delay, you have to multiply 2 into this value. So when you multiply 2 into 19.9314, you are going to get the entire time delay. Same thing for this also, when you multiply 2 into 19.9314, you are going to get the entire time delay. Okay, so let us multiply 19.93145 into 2. So you are going to get 39.8629 millisecond of as an entire period. So when you calculate for both method, you have to get same value. So the entire period of this program is 39.8629 millisecond. Okay. So next we go for next slide, that is modify TL and TH with the same example to get the largest time delay. So how to get the largest time delay? So here previous value is B838. So here when you put the initial count as 0000 in TH and TL, usually you are going to get the largest time delay because the difference between that count is more compared to remaining count. If you take FF2 minus FFF, so the values which is going to count is 14 times. So when you apply the initial count as 0000, then you minus FF minus 00 means you are going to get the more number of counts, so that you are going to get the largest time delay. So how to get the largest time delay? By initializing the initial count as 0000. So for they given find the delay in the millisecond. If in your calculation exclude overhead due to instruction in the loop. So here you must not include the overhead. So directly by the initial count you have to calculate the largest delay. So whenever this question is asked to get the largest time delay means you have to upload initial count as 0000 in th and tl. So everything is same, program is same program, only the initial count is changed. So when it is 00, so this is the time delay you are going to get. So here they calculated in terms of decimal. So maximum value of decimal is 65536 minus initial count into 11.085 microsecond. So you are going to get 71.1065 millisecond for half pulse. Okay, this is a half pulse. So when you calculate for entire period, that is 71. When you calculate it for entire period, that is 71.1065 millisecond into 2. Okay, so whenever the question is asked to write the program for the largest time delay, see that you have to load TL and TL0 as a 0000. Okay, so you are going to get the largest time delay compared to remaining initial count. So next, same program, okay, we will see in timer 1. So just till now I completed with timer 0. For same program, how you can write using timer 1. Okay, so timer 1 mode 1. So for timer 1 mode 1, the values is going to be changed in T mod register. When it is timer 0 mode 1, the value is 01. When it is timer 1 mode 1, the value is 10, because you have to put the 4 bits of timer 1. This is a higher bit of time T mod register. So ultimately the values is going to be changed here. Okay. So when you put 10 in T mod register, it is going to selected as a timer 1 mode 1. Then when you put 01 in T mod register, it is going to select as a timer 0 mode 1. Next, you have to load the initial count. So let us take initial count as 7634. So that I am going to load in TL1 because I am using timer 1. So register is going to be denoted as TL and TH1. Next thing, complement that P1.5. Next, I'm written this program with respect to subroutine. Then A call delay. So call that delay program. So the delay program is start the timer 1. Then monitor the timer flag. So again you can see 1111 because you are using timer 1. If it is 0, write 000 in front of registers. Okay. So again TF1. So monitor this until TF1 becomes 1. Next, stop the timer 1. Then stop the timer flag 1. Then return to the main program. Then execute sjump here. So again it will start from the beginning. Okay. So now when you calculate the entire period of this initial count, that is 7634. So this is calculated in terms of hex method. So maximum value is FFF minus 7634. You are going to get 89CB plus 189CC in terms of hex. Okay, so when you convert this into decimal, it is 35276 clock count, and this has to be multiplied with a period. So you are taking same crystal frequency here is 11.0592 megahertz. So when you multiply with this period, you are going to get 38.274 millisecond for half of the square wave. Okay, so half of the square wave. To get the entire period, you multiply this 38.274 millisecond into 2, you are going to get 76.548 millisecond. So 76.548 millisecond is the entire period of the pulse. Then by using that 76.548 millisecond, find the frequency. Okay, because in the question itself they are given find the frequency of the square wave. So this is a period of half of the square wave. To get the entire period of the square wave, you multiply 2 with 38.274 millisecond, so that you will get 76.548 millisecond. Then do 1 divided by 76.548 millisecond, so that you are going to get the frequency as 13.064 hertz for this example.